Dennis Rodman, aka The Worm, aka Rodzilla, is one of the greats, an NBA legend. Rodman led the league in rebounding for 7 years in a row, snagged 7 all-defensive first teams, 2 defensive player of the years, and was simply one of the greatest rebounders and defenders the game has ever seen. Add on 5 NBA championships, it's pretty fair to say Rodman has a damn fine looking resume, and that's without the 96 Finals MVP that many fans believe he rightfully deserved.
I don't know who got the MVP or not, but Dennis Rodman won them 2 basketball games. Game 2, I think it's game 2, and game tonight, Dennis Rodman was the reason they were successful.
On the court, Dennis was an absolute menace. All the little things, all the dirty work, that was his gig. Anything it took to get his team to win.
This guy would be in his own world about winning. You just saw it dripping off of him. You just saw on his face the passion he had for the game.
He was similar to a Draymond Green, except 5 times better and not a soft little bitch. Off the court, however, is where things get a little bit more spicy, more curious, if you will. Rodman has always had this proclivity of sorts, where he will simply act on whatever the fuck crazy thought comes to mind, no matter how much trouble it might cause for him.
I kind of like trouble.
To put it eloquently, he was quite the character. To put it not so eloquently, he was a really fucking weird cunt.
That's weird, man. That's too weird.
And when you're a weird cunt, you're going to get up to some weird shit, which is absolutely true for Dennis Rodman. Today, I'm going to talk about a few of those interesting stories as to what Dennis Rodman gets up to in his free time. Some of these tales involve some crazy fucking adventures, while others aren't really too big or insane. But what they all are is curious. These are the curious tales of Dennis Rodman. Every basketball player, at some point or another in their life, knows that dreaded feeling of pure anger and frustration that follows after a referee makes a blatantly bad or incorrect call in a game. And when a player feels that anger after a bad call from the ref, the only thing they want to do in that moment is to take it out on the referee responsible. You might think that at the NBA's level, the highest level professional basketball in the entire world, where referees are paid between $150,000 and over $500,000 a year, that the quality of officiating wouldn't be too bad. You'd be wrong. Rodman has never exactly had the best relationship with the referees, and after getting 2 early and maybe undeserved techs in the first quarter of a game in the 96 season, Dennis wasn't very happy. After mulling over his next course of action for a few moments, Dennis decided fuck this, fuck you, and proceeded to headbutt a referee. The blow itself wasn't enough to kill the man, it was more of a love tap really. Nonetheless, it was a point of no return for Dennis, so he made sure to exit the game in style. He threw off his jersey, shouted a few more words of positive encouragement back to the refs, and then knocked over a water cooler for added dramatic effect. Meanwhile, Phil Jackson, with his courtside view of the action from the Bulls bench, just found the whole thing hilarious. At least he found it funny, because the league didn't, who suspended Rodman for 6 games and fined him a total of $200,000. The kick felt around the world. A year after Rodman's referee headbutt, on January 15, 1997, when Rodman felt like Eugene Amos, a cameraman sitting baseline, had been responsible for tripping him over, he unleashed that anger with one mighty kick to poor Eugene's nutsack. Boom! Right on target. And despite what the commentators were saying,
it's a struggle for it, he comes over around the cameraman and steps on the camera, and that's what he was upset about.
Upon close inspection, it's pretty obvious he was nowhere close to touching the guy's camera, or any part of his body for that matter. If anything, he tripped on the feet of the dude to his left.
The wrong guy. This guy wasn't involved. This guy sitting to the right of this cameraman that's just left.
It's like Ron Artest during the Malice at the Palace. Wrong guy. But either way, these guys were just sitting baseline like they would every game, doing their job. Rodman is the one who went flying off the court into them. The pain inflicted upon Amos was so great that he would need a stretcher to come pick him up before being taken to hospital. Now he may have been playing his new injury up just a little bit.
Now the man acts like he's dying.
But no doubt, a kick like that from Dennis Rodman probably felt like a hit from Thor's hammer. Unfortunately, Amos just didn't get really much of a kick out of that kick. And so, following the game, Eugene initially intended to pursue a criminal assault charge against Dennis. However, he dropped it after Rodman agreed to pay him a $200,000 out-of-court settlement, and also after he'd received an apology.
Sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Sorry.
David Stern and the league weren't too impressed by this kick either. Rodman was suspended for 11 games without pay and was fined an additional $25,000. The lost pay from those 11 games equaled over $1 million. So all in all, that one kick to the wrong guy cost Rodman over $1 million. I'd personally say it probably wasn't worth it, but on the bright side, it did look like he learned his lesson.
All right, Anthony Mason just obliterated Dennis Rodman. There we see him coming right into your living room, and Dennis Rodman, are you okay, big guy?
Rodman has lived quite the sexually active lifestyle, to say the least. He puts his stats at around 2,000 women or so. Maybe he's not on Wilt Chamberlain's level just yet, you can't knock him for not putting in the effort. Of those 2,000 women, there are two ladies of particular note. Firstly, there is pop icon Madonna, who he dated during his Spurs days for a solid 2 months. According to Dennis, he never used a condom with Madonna as she wouldn't let him. She was apparently super keen to have a baby with him. Yeah, him. So much so in fact that she offered Rodman $20 million if he could put a baby in her. A pretty damn decent offer by the sounds of it. But despite the very frequent sex they were having in that 2-month window, unfortunately for Dennis, no babies came from it. One time, Dennis was hanging out in Vegas, gambling, as you do in Vegas, when he got a phone call from Madonna, who was in New York City at the time. To quote her, she said, "Dennis, you know that I'm ovulating." Rodman immediately jumped on a private plane to New York, slept with her, and then immediately flew back to Vegas to finish up his gambling business. He was certainly trying for that 20 mil. A few years on, now in 1998, Madonna had been replaced by a Playboy model and a spoof movie star actress, Carmen Electra. Things were looking up, so he actually went ahead and married her in Las Vegas. Their marriage was one of true love and romance, something akin to a fairy tale. A story of two lovers from different walks of life coming together and finding each other as if it was destiny's plan all along.
He's just going through this whole ritual of, you know, this symbolizes a lot of this, and I'm like, okay, you need to hurry the up before I change my mind, okay? Got the. Wow. So he said, okay, great. Do you?
In the bedroom, the two were perfect for each other. Apparently, Carmen would always do this adorable little thing where she would call Dennis a nigger! And then in one particularly bad case of romantic screaming and fighting, Dennis and Carmen were both arrested by police on battery charges. Their marriage lasted 10 days. When I say the name Dennis Rodman, you probably think of him from his basketball career. Well, that's just gotta stop. It's about damn time some respect is put on his acting career. Rodman has had a few different acting roles over the years, from a brief guest appearance in Baywatch to a starring role in the indie film The Minis, a movie where Dennis Rodman plays on a basketball team filled with dwarves.
What? Are you serious?
But no acting performance by Rodman is more notable or prolific than his lead role in Double Team.
Whoa, I bet that hurt. That hurt.
Double Team is an epic action espionage thriller about spies, revenge, and Dennis Rodman playing a world-class arms dealer with a flair for destruction.
A world-class arms dealer. Did you open that?
Yeah.
With a flair for destruction.
The movie received universal acclamation and praise, and by that I mean it was massively panned by critics and everybody hated it. As you can probably gather very quickly from its trailer, it's just a classic, terrible, cliche-filled, generic 1990s action film, with its only unique selling point that it just happens to feature Dennis fucking Rodman of all people. For his action movie debut, Rodman would go on to win several film awards, just not the good kind. These included 3 Razzie Awards, which consisted of Worst New Star, Worst Supporting Actor, and Worst Screen Couple, an award he shared with that other dude. Although Double Team is an objectively bad movie, many have come to view it in the same vein as The Room, where it's just so bad that it's good. So at least there's that. Throughout his many sexual adventures, Dennis has had the unfortunate experience of suffering an injury no man should ever have to go through, and that is a contusion of the cock.
I said, what is he said? You got a contusion of your I said, contusion? I said, what the fuck is a contusion?
Wait a second, of what?
A contusion? I said, contusion? I said, what the fuck is that?
Of your
In other words, a broken penis. And he's done this not just 1, but 3 times.
That's 3 times I did that and broke my dick.
Rodman has literally broken his dick 3 times.
This is breaking news right here on Cold as Balls. And by breaking, I do mean literally breaking news.
First time, him and his then girlfriend were having some sexy time on a boat. She then says, "Hey, why don't you run from across the room and jump into me with your dick?" Dennis says, "Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea, eh?" So he gets his run up, jumps, and misses the target.
I'm like, oh, blood everywhere. I'm blood everywhere.
For the second break, Dennis was back to just good old normal sex on land. Him and his girl were going at it when she decided it could be a good time to practice some yoga, and that's what she did.
Crack. Another one. Blood everywhere.
Third time, it was a similar thing. One broken dick is bad enough, but 3 times is just unimaginable. Little Dennis has taken an absolute beating down there.
It don't get straight, it just gets kind of like that. Like a big carrot, you know.
69. Am I right, guys? Haha, dab. Speaking of which, can you think of a basketball player ever wearing this special number? If you answered yes, you are either stupid or lying, because no player has ever worn such a number. Dennis Rodman, the trendsetter that he is, was keen to make history, and after joining the Dallas Mavericks in 2000, he requested for the new number on his jersey to be 69. Unfortunately for him, David Stern doesn't like memes and said, "No Dennis, we will not give you 69. The public doesn't know the explicit reasoning behind his decision, but I think something to do with the strong sexual connotations on the number might have played a minor role in the decision making. In the face of this defeat, Rodman went with literally the next closest thing to a number 69, and that was the number 70. His reasoning behind picking number 70 was that it is a 69 with a thumb in the ass. The man's a comedian. Throughout his adulthood, Dennis has always had his fair share of money problems. Despite bringing in a pretty handy $29 million from his NBA career alone, Rodman's net worth today is only $500,000. Now obviously $500,000 is a lot of money for any old Joe, but when compared to his contemporaries, that's a pretty pathetic amount of money. Isiah Thomas's current net worth is $100 million. David Robinson, $200 million. Scottie Pippen, $50 million. Michael Jordan, well, that's just not a fair comparison. Even in the middle of his prime and basketball playing career, Dennis Rodman was broke.
Even after playing 9 NBA seasons, he was nearly broke.
Between taxes and living and an ex-wife and a daughter, he rented a nice house, but he had nothing saved up.
But hey, when has a lack of money ever been good reason to not make it randomly rain in public spaces before? Dennis Rodman says it hasn't. And making it randomly rain in public spaces just happens to be something that Dennis apparently has a propensity for. During his short-lived fling with Madonna, Rodman was seen walking into a random department store, throwing up a heap of cash, and then walking out. A few years later at a nightclub, Rodman made it rain over the DJ after he put on his song request. Fast forward a few more years to 2012, Dennis is now making it rain at a random clothing store again, this time on video. And mind you, this was in the same month that he appeared in court because he owed his ex-wife over $800,000 in late child support payments. His defense to the court and reasoning for not paying was that he, quote, was broke as a joke. And a few years after that, he was rocking up to a music show in LA and making it rain all over the stage. Basically, the dude obviously just loves making it rain, despite a lack of spare money to do so. And no doubt, he's done it many more times than the few instances which were publicly reported. Rodman, for a brief period of time in 2005, was appointed as commissioner of a major American football league. No, not the NFL, you idiot. Much bigger than that. Of course, I'm talking about the LFL, the Lingerie Football League. The Lingerie Football League, now known as the Extreme Football League, is basically a women's only football league where all the girls wear somewhat exposing clothing and there are fuck all rules. The result being absolute chaos and pure entertainment for traditional football fans, whilst it simultaneously acts as a beacon of hope and inspiration for little girls all around the world who are living under sexist-based oppression. It really is God's work. The league initially started out as the Lingerie Bowl, an alternative for Super Bowl viewers to watch during the Super Bowl halftime. It was in the lead up to Lingerie Bowl 3 that Rodman was made the league commissioner. Straight away he was making some bold promises, intending to leave his mark on the league. These plans included to initiate random cosmetic surgery testing, monitoring of all uniform fittings, and mandatory end zone dances. Real game-changing stuff, you know. Even though his commissioner appointment was short-lived and realistically was nothing else than a publicity stunt, it's still pretty cool to have on your resume that at one point in time you were the commissioner of a national football league. And with the league now in its 16th year of operation, no doubt, its success can all be attributed to Rodman's efforts as commissioner and the strong foundations he laid for the league's future. It all started off like any other night for Dennis Rodman. He was drunk, having a good time at a party in New York. Throughout the night, he'd been carrying a cordless microphone with him so he could make shoutouts over the speakers. Nothing wrong with that, just enjoying himself. Soon enough, Rodman found himself in the company of 6 lovely ladies, and then proceeded to head up to his hotel room in the company of these 6 lovely ladies. There was just this one little snag, however. Unbeknownst to him, Rodman still had the microphone in his pocket, and it was still on. and fully connected to the party speakers. Very soon, everyone at the party were a little confused, perplexed even, as to why they were suddenly hearing Dennis Rodman's voice over the speakers going into full sexual detail about the things he was going to do to those 6 women in his hotel room. Basically, Rodman was unwittingly broadcasting his 6 women orgy to the entire party downstairs and everybody in attendance. Once the realisation set in that they were listening to the sounds of Dennis Rodman fuck 6 women, the event organisers quickly got to work in pulling the speakers plugs before things went on any longer. The year was 1996, and Rodman has just released his first autobiography, Bad As I Wanna Be. During the promotional tour for his new book, Rodman revealed that in the upcoming days he was going to marry a beautiful, intelligent woman. Come the day of a book signing in New York City, it appeared to be the magical day at last. A horse-drawn carriage rolled up to the bookstore with what appeared to be a blonde-haired woman wearing a designer wedding dress and veil in the carriage. As this individual clambered out of the carriage, accompanied by 5 women in tuxedos at their side, their identity was revealed at last. It was Dennis Rodman, wearing a blonde wig and makeup. Today was a special day that he was going to marry himself. If you were wondering why in the ever-loving fuck he would do this, here's what he had to say.
And I was doing a book signing thing in New York. I was in a hotel. I said, what should I do? What should I wear? So I just came with this thing and said, how about I just wear a wedding dress and I'll marry myself? And this famous guy from London came down and said, okay, great. We'll make you a dress. And next thing I said, okay, let me have 8 women that's gonna, be my bridesmaid, what you want to call them. Mm-hmm. And they dressed in tuxedos, and I had like a horse and carriage. People don't still know it's me. Mm-hmm. I still had the veil on and stuff like that. So I walked in, I was signing books and stuff like that. So I took it off, it was me. And people were like, oh, he got us.
You've just been pranked by the prank patrol.
You just been pranked by the prank patrol!
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman in North Korea. Today he's saying happy birthday to the country's brutal dictator.
I love the guy. The guy is my friend forever and ever and ever. He's my friend first. He's my friend. I don't the world. He's my friend. I love him. No, I don't give I don't give a rat's ass what the hell you think. I'm saying to you, look at these guys here. Look at them.
Yeah, but Dennis, don't put it on them. Don't use them as an excuse for the behavior that you're putting on yourself.
There is nobody at the CIA who could tell you more personally about Kim Jong-un than Dennis Rodman.
So, Mr. Rodman, round trip to North Korea?
One way.
One way? Woo! One way. He said one way.
He's never coming back!
This one is without a doubt the juiciest, most curious tale of them all, and is one you've very likely heard about before in the media or online. Dennis Rodman is friends with Kim Jong-un, and not just a little bit. No, apparently they're besties.
I love him. I love him. The guy's awesome. I love the guy. The guy is my friend forever and ever and ever. He's my friend first. He's my friend. I don't the world. He's my friend. I love him. Sir, thank you. You have a friend for life. Good friends after that.
This one is just crazy, man. Kim Jong-un is a tyrannical fat little dictator of a police state where its 25 million citizens are afforded virtually no human rights. Technically, North Korea is still at war with America, and Kim has been threatening nuclear attacks against both South Korea and the US basically ever since taking power. So of course, it only makes sense that Kim Jong-un would have Dennis Rodman as a close friend.
Oh, friend! Oh, new friend! Oh, friend! He's my friend! Oh, friend! Oh, friend!
How the fuck does a friendship like this even start, you may ask? Well, like all great things, it starts with Michael Jordan. Growing up, Kimmy and his family were apparently massive fans of the Michael Jordan era Chicago Bulls. Kimmy's dad, Kim Jong-il, apparently had a video library of nearly every game that Jordan ever played for the Bulls. Little Kim was said to have had his bedroom covered in posters of MJ and the Bulls, and there's also this photograph here of his brother as a kid wearing a Dennis Rodman jersey. Kimmy was a Bulls fan, and one of the perks of being a powerful, wealthy dictator is that you get the chance to make shit happen that the normal person couldn't dream of doing. So, Kimmy decided he was going to try and meet Michael Jordan, and get him to come over to North Korea. The response from MJ was a regrettable no.
Love Chicago Bulls. He contacted Michael first, and Michael Jordan just like, no, I'm not doing this.
Okay, Michael didn't work. That's fine. Plan B was Dennis Rodman.
The next guy he asked was me. He said, okay, Dennis, you want to go to North Korea? I immediately said yes.
So in March of 2013, Rodman jumped on a plane and headed on over to the Hermit Kingdom, with a few Harlem Globetrotters at his side. In Pyongyang, Rodman would sit side by side with Kim Jong-un as they watched the Globetrotters take part in an exhibition game with other North Koreans. It was at this game that the unlikely friendship of Dennis Rodman and Kim Jong-un really took off and blossomed into something beautiful.
Sir, thank you. You're a friend for life.
And since then, Rodman has been back many times. During those visits, he seems to just chill out with the Supreme Leader. They do things like hang out at Kimmy's private island, they go horse riding, jet skiing, do a bit of karaoke, play some basketball together.
Jordan!
I mean, it just sounds like a super fun time, to be honest. One particularly notable visit by Rodman was when he sung a beautiful rendition of Happy Birthday to Kim for his 30th birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
He then took part playing in an exhibition game as a little birthday gift to the Supreme Leader. Now, Rodman has received massive scrutiny from the media for his North Korean trips and friendship with Kim Jong-un. But at the end of the day, all he genuinely appears to want is to simply make the world a better place. And if that starts with helping to facilitate the peace process between North Korea and America, then why not? Rodman certainly did his part in getting the American-Korean missionary Kenneth Bae released from North Korean imprisonment. And he may have been much more impactful than we know in getting the meeting between Trump and Kim to have actually even taken place at all. Rodman, after all, was very likely the first American that Kim had actually ever met, and his actions definitely helped create a dialogue between North Korea and America that really hadn't existed before. His pure, genuine happiness to see the historic meeting between Kim and Trump take place was very evident in this interview.
And I said to everybody, I said, the door will open. When I said those damn things, when I went back home, I got so many death threats. And I believed in North Korea. And when I went home, I couldn't even go home. I had to hide out for 30 days. I knew things were going to change. I knew it. I was the only one. And today is a great day for everybody. Singapore, Tokyo, China, everything. It's a great day. I'm so happy.
If Dennis wants to try and bring some peace to the world, then what's wrong with that? All the power to him.
I just wanted to see it get done so we all can live good together.
Well, here's the first
hatred,
day.
No more hatred. And make this a better place in the world, baby. That's it. I want us to see us get along, to have a handshake, to have a smile, have a...
And those are the curious tales of Dennis Rodman.
So, we didn't write the man. We didn't write the man.
She spelled it right.
It's not good. Dennis, you're fired.